Welcome to this explainer. Look, we're going to completely bypass the standard agenda today because we need to immediately talk about a really critical reality. The ground beneath our cybersecurity infrastructure is quite literally collapsing. The traditional logic-based formulas we've all relied on to protect our data, they are fundamentally breaking down. We're dealing with a level of urgency right now that requires a total paradigm shift in how we even think about defense.
So let's just dive right into this question. We see the headlines every single week, right? The most heavily fortified billion-dollar tech giants are getting compromised. If organizations with essentially unlimited security budgets cannot keep attackers out of their networks, we really have to pause and ask ourselves an incredibly uncomfortable question. Is your plan B, your backup system, actually safe? Or are you just relying on an illusion of security?
To understand exactly why this illusion exists, let's move right into Section 1, AI hacking and security collapse. Because, guys, the threat model has completely fundamentally changed.
Take a look at this massive number on the screen, 50,000 plus. According to the Anthropic Threat Intelligence Report, this represents the number of vulnerability tests a single autonomous AI agent can execute per hour. We've officially entered what's called the 0-second era. Attackers, they aren't sitting around waiting for human error anymore. They are deploying thousands of requests per second, bypassing code in real time the actual millisecond a barrier is detected.
And this right here, this is the fatal math of modern cybersecurity. It perfectly highlights the ultimate limitation of software security. Over on the left, you've got a human security team. They might handle, maybe, an average of 50 vulnerability tests a day, and it often takes them weeks to develop and apply patches. But on the right, the autonomous AI agent is running over 50,000 simultaneous tests an hour. Human speed, logical software defense is mathematically obsolete at this point. In software security, you, the defender, have to be right 100% of the time. But that AI attacker, it only needs to be right once.
And the hard data absolutely backs up this collapse. If we look at this chart from Epoch AI, which tracks 21 notable tech organizations, you can see that critical and high-severity vulnerabilities hovered in the 200 to 300 range for years. But look at what happens leading right up to 2026 with the rollout of autonomous AI models. It is a vertical spike approaching 900 vulnerabilities. Even global leaders spending billions are failing to patch fast enough. The old software defense formula is just completely overwhelmed.
Which brings us to Section 2, the fatal bidirectional trap. Let's talk about the core structural reason why these software defenses are failing across the board.
This image of a shattered network represents the fundamental flaw of standard TCP/IP interconnected networks. Everything is linked. You are relying entirely on software firewalls to separate your most critical assets. But because it's a bidirectional connection, the moment a hacker pierces just one software barrier, your entire interconnected web is instantly exposed. If it's connected, it can, and frankly, eventually will, be breached. Let's move along to Section 3, target number 1, your backups. This is where things build into an absolute nightmare scenario for enterprise resilience. Because a hacker's primary target, it's no longer just your live data.
Your plan B is literally their target number 1. According to data from Veeam, a staggering 96% of ransomware attacks now specifically target backup repositories. Think about it. Hackers know that if you can restore from a backup, you are never going to pay their ransom. So they don't just lock the front door, they make absolutely sure to burn down your safety net first.
And here is where the dread really sets in. Out of those backups that are targeted, 76% suffer a successful breach. That means in 3 out of 4 attacks, the very system designed to save your business is effectively neutralized. Your backups are compromised right alongside your primary operations.
And the financial fallout? It's devastating. Sophos data reveals that when your backups are compromised, your recovery costs multiply by 8. It is an 8x penalty for relying on hackable software to protect your last line of defense. So the question is no longer, hey, do you have backups? The real question is, are your backups architecturally immune to compromised admin credentials?
Check out the exact path modern ransomware takes. Step 1 is dwell. They infiltrate and patiently hide in your operational network. Step 2 is destroy backup. They use those bidirectional software links we talked about to find and silently destroy or encrypt your backup data. Only after the backups are completely gone do they move to Step 3, extortion. That's when they lock your main servers and demand payment, knowing full well your hope for recovery is already dead.
Okay, so if logical software defenses are basically bound to fail, how on earth do we protect the data? Let's dive into Section 4, physical isolation, specifically looking at the nuclear model.
We have to change the paradigm entirely here. We need to pivot away from the hackable rules of software and move toward the unbreakable laws of physics.
The crucial point here is looking at how the world's most critical infrastructure actually protects itself. Think about a nuclear power plant. They absolutely do not just use firewalls. They use absolute mechanical, physical isolation. They use a one-way data diode. Data can mechanically flow out, but it is physically impossible for data to flow back in. Software can be hacked all day long. The laws of physics, they cannot.
Now, you might be sitting there wondering, well, why hasn't this nuclear-grade tech been the standard for enterprise backups all along? Well, there was a major dilemma with old industrial data diodes, because there's no feedback channel, no return signals saying, hey, data received. You really can't do large data transfers. It was restricted to tiny little text logs. If you tried to push terabytes of enterprise database backups through a traditional diode, it just resulted in massive packet loss, memory overloads, and complete system crashes.
But what if you could actually solve that dilemma? Let's look at the resolution in Section 5, Defortress, and how we're building absolute defense.
Meet Defortress. This is designed as the ultimate air-gap data vault. It completely abandons that flawed software-only approach we've been talking about, and instead, it physically removes the TCP/IP attack surface altogether. It is a true data safe, replacing hackable logic with rigid physical barriers.
The way Defortress solved that old packet loss dilemma is pretty incredible. It's through a breakthrough innovation, patented dual data diode technology. This allows for massive, high-speed enterprise backup transfers without the files breaking or systems crashing, all while maintaining that absolute one-way physical isolation. It essentially bridges the gap between nuclear-level security and everyday enterprise-scale data needs.
Defortress really operates on three core strengths. First up, the physical air gap, which strips away the attack surface right down at the hardware level. Second, ultimate data integrity based on zero trust, and this is huge. It means even if an AI hacker steals your highest root administrator privileges, they physically cannot delete, modify, or encrypt the isolated data. No way. And third, zero RTO. That ensures immediate business continuity, because your perfectly preserved data is ready to restore the exact moment disaster strikes.
Just compare the two paradigms side by side. Traditional software security is purely logic-based, making it completely vulnerable to unknown zero-day attacks. If the root admin is compromised, the entire system collapses instantly. But Defortress? It's physics-based. The attack pathway is physically removed. Even with stolen credentials, data deletion is mechanically blocked. We are fundamentally moving from a system that relies on policies that can be bypassed to physical laws that simply cannot be broken. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. As we plunge deeper into an era where an AI can test 50,000 vulnerabilities an hour, the old logic is dead. Look at your own critical infrastructure right now and ask yourself, is your last line of defense protected by hackable software, or is it secured by the absolute laws of physics? Because honestly, the survival of your organization relies entirely on your answer.